Canary, my cloud 9 3/4. Chapter 21. Fighting for our future. Shinso had never been to Midoriya's house before, so who could blame him for not expecting Siren to catapult herself into his face the moment he opened the door? Siren! Exclaimed two voices at once. Midoriya pulled the bird off Shinso's face as she chirped contentedly. Is she just your attack bird now or something? Shinso groaned as Midoriya held the door open for him and he stepped inside. Midoriya grinned guiltily and releasing the bird into the air again, only for her to fly circles around Shinso's head in the enclosed space. So, what have you been doing today? Shinso questioned as he kicked off his shoes. Nothing much, really, he said timidly. Shinso narrowed his eyes. That couldn't have been a good sign. What happened? He had to repeat the question twice before Midoriya saw his hand movements. Nothing, he replied simply, walking Shinso into a room with the name Izuku written on the door. Midoriya immediately collapsed into the bed. Are you sure? Shinso pushed, deciding to sit down on the chair that had been tucked underneath his computer desk. Then accidentally jogging his computer mouse, the device flickered to life. And that was an awful lot of tabs. Who is Canary? The answer will rock you! All things you need to know if you want to be a true Canary fan. Canary is less likely to enter the hero course than you might think. Which collective noun are you? UA's sports festival finale was explosive. Literally! What's up with Canary's bird? Reasons why Canary isn't the angel he makes himself out to be. Bending the rules? Why General Studies students Izuku Midoriya and Hitoshi Shinso shouldn't have gotten so far through the sports festival. Suspicious finale. Canary under scrutiny for cheating. Shinso gave Midoriya a look. You shouldn't be reading this stuff. Midoriya sat up with a sigh and started to fiddle with what seemed to be one of Siren's feathers that depended on a necklace. It's ridiculous. Are you under scrutiny for cheating? Well, not that I'm aware of. Exactly. Shinso sighed. What's up with Canary's bird? We're all asking that question, buddy, and no one's any closer to the answer. Midoriya snorted. Reasons why Canary isn't the angel he makes himself out to be? Shinso grinned. I wasn't aware you made yourself out to be an angel. You're still threatening to go for my eyes every time I call you an angry little bird. He grinned brightly at Shinso, who smiled back and then proceeded to close down those endless tabs. So when are we heading off to the radio station? Shinso questioned. As soon as my mom comes back. She went out grocery shopping because... well, I'm delaying leaving the house, Midoriya admitted. Shinso shrugged. Fair enough. Is that why you invited me to be your bodyguard? You're not my bodyguard! Midoriya exclaimed. You said you were bored! So I invited you over for dinner and I forgot about having to do the radio today. He pouted. You sure that your manager person said that it was okay for me to hang around for the hour? Yeah, Ilzora was fine about it. She's excited to meet you. Should I be worried? Possibly. He was looking at the photograph of Midoriya with an energetic blue-skinned lady who Shinso assumed to be this Aozora amongst his growing collection on his wall. She had a very strange smile and rather pointy teeth. What's her quirk? Shinso frowned, generally curious. No idea, Midoriya replied. Shinso narrowed his eyes at him, already spying the growing conspiracy in those bright eyes. Alright then, he said, deciding it was best to leave the matter be. Shinso drifted his gaze over Midoriya's small room. Siren had dominated a good amount of it, despite her size, including a lot of his work desk. Do you like her nest? Midoriya grinned, nodding at the bundle of cloth that was the missing headband, and Midoriya's silver medal lying beside it. There was a present mic pin there, too. Shinso was quite certain that wasn't there in Midoriya's picture last night. It's like a dragon's hoard. Shinso scoffed as Siren landed in it, puffing at her chest proudly. That's what it's turning into. Midoriya agreed with a sigh. I hadn't planned on letting her keep the medal, but she gets all upset when I move it now, so I suppose it's staying there. Shinso grinned. I love that bird almost as much as my cats. Midoriya's eyes widened. You have cats? He blinked at him. There's no way I haven't mentioned this before. I complain about cat hair all the time. Well, to me. Oh, well, I saw him. Oh, well, I'm sorry I deprived you of that particular conversation then. Midoriya laughed and then looked down at his feather necklace again, faltering and saying, well, speaking of medals. Shinso frowned. We've already changed topic. But speaking of... We're not speaking about medals anymore, though. Shush up and let me speak! Midoriya exclaimed, turning into angry bird mode. Shinso wouldn't have pointed it out, but he was slightly fearful of Siren being present. You helped me speak, Midoriya explained. Shinso furrowed his brow but didn't interrupt him. You helped me when you didn't need to, all the way back on the first day of school, and if you hadn't done that, then I would still be really struggling with speaking, and I would never have found my quirk, and I... Okay, yeah, you're speaking faster than I could think. Shinso grinned. What are you trying to say? Midoriya simply leaned over and dropped the feather necklace into Shinso's open hands. It's for you! Shinso blinked at it. For me? Well, I still think you should have got a medal in the sports festival. You were more than powerful enough to win. And you definitely would have counteracting my quirk, so there's that. But yeah, you don't actually have to wear it. I was wearing it so I wouldn't forget, but it's my version of a medal to say thanks. He continued to stare down at it for a moment, at the swirl of metal wire that secured the feather in place, at the neat fastenings of a slightly different color to the rest. Shinso wasn't sure where he'd gotten the pieces other than the feather, of course. But either way, it seemed as though Midoriya had gotten them all separately and spent a good amount of time carefully creating the medal. Shinso smiled. Trust Midoriya to do something like this, so incredibly wholesome and kind. That very thought reminded him, though, that he never had a real chance at friendship before. Midoriya would make a brilliant hero. It was what he was born to do. From his personality to his quirk, everything about him screamed heroism. But the world hadn't agreed at first. Midoriya was different from the other Hero Corps students. He knew what it felt like to be downtrodden, be told he couldn't or shouldn't, despite what his heart yearned for. Shinso was exactly the same, and boy was he glad that on the first day of school he decided, unknowingly, to be the first to give Midoriya the chance he needed. The simple gift meant more to Shinso than Midoriya could have ever realized. You really don't have to wear it, Midoriya smiled as Shinso fastened it around his neck. It's more like a keepsake. Too late. I'm never taking it off. Midoriya continued to stutter in apparent embarrassment for a while until Shinso changed the subject of the conversation to the internet's love of Siren, which was always a fun topic. That was until Miss Midoriya returned and called her son over to help unload the shopping, which Shinso was happy to help with. You have to go in a minute, Miss Midoriya, who insisted on being called Inko from Shinso anyway, exclaimed. Go and change, Izuku. What? Midoriya stammered, fumbling dangerously with a carton of eggs. This is fine. I'm only going to the radio station. He was wearing his usual set of home clothes, an incredibly oversized t-shirt that was comically labeled exactly that, t-shirt, and an ordinary set of trousers. Yes, but people know your face now, Inko acknowledged, and you might be seen on the way to work. At least put on something that fits you. Midoriya sighed, but didn't protest, and quickly hurried back to his room to change. Izuku gave you his present, then? Smiled Inko as she continued to telekinetically pull items of her shopping across the room. It was a very different quirk to Midoriya's, something that Shinso sometimes struggled to get his head around. Yeah, Shinso replied. He was just taking various things from the shopping bags and setting them out on the counter for Inko to tidy away, since he didn't know where anything belonged himself. I hope you realize how important of a friend you are to him, she said, speaking in a slightly hushed voice so that her son wouldn't hear. He was in a bad place before he met you, Ingo added sadly. You know that he didn't talk, but he wouldn't eat sometimes, too. The only way I got him to leave his room when he didn't need to be at school was through his dance and music. Shinso bit his lip. She clearly didn't know about Bakugo's suicide baiting. But then he started coming home from UA all happy and smiling, and he would actually talk to me about everything. About you and Uraraka and Ida. And then he decided to go out to this nearby beach to play his guitar. He's done that a few times before. But this time he came back soaking wet and with this beaming smile on his face. His guitar all covered in scorch marks. And he'd found his quirk. She sighed. You know what happened from there on out. Shinso smiled back at her. Yeah, things were really looking up. All they had to do now was figure out a way to make UA transfer both of them onto the hero course. Okay, let's go! Midoriya exclaimed, hurrying back into view, wearing a yellow hoodie, only slightly oversized, and dark blue jeans with those bulky red shoes of his in his hands, ready to be put on. Don't forget your key card again. Shinso sighed as he started to walk towards the door. Shinso, Inko called back. He turned. Thank you. And with a smile he nodded, following Midoriya out of the house with Siren whizzing along behind them. Midoriya practically skipped down the steps from his apartment ahead of Shinso. Siren was singing loudly. Did you get your key card in the end? Shinso questioned after a while as they walked towards the train station. Yep, Midoriya replied, popping the P. I keep it with my train card now, in the back of my phone case, he explained, removing his phone from the green plastic casing to reveal both cards hidden behind it. He shoved the device back into his hoodie pocket. Excellent. That way, if you lose one thing, you lose everything. Shinso grinned. Midoriya shoved him playfully. Shut up! I won't lose my phone! You managed to lose your key card pretty easily. My phone is different! I keep it on me at all times now, with my earphones. How else would I be able to listen to music when I'm bored? It didn't take long for them to reach the station. As they stepped onto the train, Shinso pulled Midoriya's hood over his head. He gave him a strange look as they stood as far away from everyone else as possible. It was about 5:30, so the train was still rather busy. It's different now, remember? Shinso reminded him. Keep siren in your pocket. You might be recognized. Shinso heard a slight disgruntled tweet from the bird who remained hidden beside Midoriya's phone in his pocket as Midoriya shoved his hand in to keep her still and nodded to Shinso, nervously ducking his head a little to hide himself from someone standing nearby who kept glancing over to them. Shinso began fiddling with the feather around his neck fretfully as he realized that he might be identifiable too. It wasn't as though it would be dangerous to be recognized. It would just be a major inconvenience. A few stops down the line and they could finally hop off the street. Thankfully, the radio station wasn't that far away, according to Midoriya. Although Shinso was pretty sure that he got so lost in his music as he walked there that he wasn't actually aware of time passing by, because 15 minutes later, Midoriya yanked on Shinso's arm to pull him to a grinding halt. Now that was an inconvenience. Didn't you say there was a secret way to get into the radio station? Shinso whispered as the two stopped and stared at the sheer volume of people standing outside the front of the hero agency. Yeah, Midoriya stammered in reply, grabbing Shinso's wrist and pulling him back around to hurry down the street they had just walked up. He took a left, and then another left, and kept running until the two found themselves in a rather desolate area. The only surviving business in what seemed to be a row of empty shops was a small cafe, the owner of which was clearing one of the tables outside and gave Midoriya a wave from a distance. Did they know who you are? Shinso questioned unsurely as Midoriya led him down a very narrow alleyway opposite the cafe. I think a lot of people from the radio station go there, Midoriya replied as Siren finally freed herself from his bucket and decided to perch on his shoulder instead. So yeah, they must have figured it out by now. But they close at 5:30, so I'm often their last customer. Midoriya's secret passageway really was secret. Shinzo was pretty sure they'd walked up the fire escape to someone's house at some point. He hadn't even realized they'd arrived until Midoriya pulled his keycard out from the back of his phone case to swipe it through a lock at a seemingly insignificant door and opened it wide before Shinzo, grinning wildly as he ushered Shinzo inside ahead of him. What time is it? Are we late? Midoriya asked as he pushed past Shinzo in the narrow corridor to use his keycard a second time on the second door at the far end. He tapped on his phone to check the time. It's about 6:20. We're fine. Oh, good, he sighed. Hello, everyone. Midoriya called out to the receptionists as him and Shinzo marched out into the main entrance to the hero agency. They cheered and clapped. Hey, it's Canary! One exclaimed whilst the other gave him finger guns. You did great! Shinzo was busy staring at the front door to the building. The entire wall was made of glass, and he could see the mob standing, waiting by the door for someone to dare venture close. They can't see us, Midoriya explained as Shinzo almost stumbled over his shoelaces, making his way towards the receptionist's desk. It's completely blacked out from the other side. Whoa! Finger Guns frowned. You can't just sidestep our conversation about the sports festival. Come on, Shinzo. You need to register that you're in the building, said Midoriya, sidestepping the conversation. Yes, come on, Shinzo, grinned the female receptionist. Come sign in. You're doing this on purpose. This isn't fair. Why do you always do this to me? Every time we get a celebrity. Oh, I'm not a celebrity. Midoriya suddenly exclaimed, jumping back a little in apparent surprise, even though it wasn't a very surprising thing to state. Tell that to them, Shinzo protested, nodding his head towards the crowd outside as the receptionist finished transferring his details from the piece of paper he filled out and signed onto her computer. Hey, want me to take a picture of you in front of the glass? Finger Guns, Shinzo had given up thinking of a better name, quickly suggested, waving his camera phone at them. Shinzo glanced between Midoriya and the mass of people outside, having no idea they were right there. He grinned. Didn't the manager lady say to update your social media more often? Hey, Ozora, Midoriya grumbled in response. For someone who had so quickly risen to fame, he remained stubbornly camera shy. Go on, it'll be a good picture, insisted the receptionist, getting up from behind the desk excitedly. Maybe not, Midoriya stammered, but Shinzo just grinned sadistically at him and pushed him over towards the glass. Stand there, he instructed and hurried back over to Finger Gun's side. Smile! Midoriya gave them the most nervous smile Shinzo knew he could muster, as well as a feeble wave as he was backdropped by the unknowing mob. You can do better than that, the other receptionist scoffed. Give us a real smile. That didn't do much to help. Shinzo sighed. Hey, Midoriya, you know you said I should try and activate my quirk through jokes. He blinked at him and nodded uncertainly. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Midoriya did not smile and just crossed his arms and pouted. Alright then, Shinzo thought, challenge accepted. Why did the shark cross the road? To get to the other tide. Still no smile, but the way his bottom lip wobbled indicated that he was close to it. Why did the dodo cross the road? He narrowed his eyes as Shinzo grinned, probably thinking of what else could possibly rhyme with side and tide. It didn't. It got run over and died. The receptionist stared at him. Okay, not where I was expecting that to go. But Midoriya, knowing Shinzo's odd sense of humor, finally spluttered into laughter. Shinzo pulled his phone out of his pocket and took the successful photograph. If you were a villain, you'd be screwed. Shinzo grinned, walking over to him. Midoriya was still laughing periodically at the morbid joke as the receptionist took a second picture of the two of them, which he sent to Shinso using the details he'd signed into the building with not long after. "It's almost 6:30, you two," they were suddenly reminded. Midoriya jumped in surprise, jolting Siren off his shoulder as he panickingly steered Shinso towards the elevator on the far side of the room. As Midoriya pressed on the button for floor 13 and used his keycard to activate it, Shinso wondered aloud, "Why don't they use elevator music?" I don't know," Midoriya replied, raising his eyebrow uncertainly. Siren was enjoying experimenting, flying around as the elevator moved up. "Or at least play the radio. This is a radio station." Midoriya just shrugged as he grasped Siren from the air, stopping her from hurting herself as the elevator came to a stop and the doors slid open. "Hey!" cried the blue lady that could only have been Aozora. She bounced off the sofa she'd been lying on, scattering paper across the floor. She grabbed Midoriya and hugged him tightly, swaying side to side with him. "You did so well. I'm so proud. Oh my god, your face! You're still covered in plasters! Were you too tired from recovering, girl, to completely patch you up?" President Mike said that might have happened, but oh, you did so great anyway. Midoriya was struggling to get away from her, and Shinso was just enjoying watching. He was tempted to film, but he valued his eyes. And if Midoriya didn't reach angry little bird mode, then Siren would munch it quicker. He eventually broke free of Aozora's hold. Aozora? This is Shinso! Shinso, Aozora! She grinned, and it was a scary grin. It stretched a little too far across her face. "Ah! I've been told all about you," she said. Shinso couldn't tell if that was a good thing or not. "Both of you did incredibly in the sports festival. Mike will be on in like 2 seconds, and I'm sure he'll be... Never mind. Canary! You rocked it! If another person makes that pun, I swear I'll... Angry bird mode. Shinso sighed. He turned around to shoot back at him as usual retort, but was then smothered by a hug from President Mike in a similar manner to Aozora. Speaking of which, Aozora did not have the fear of Siren that Shinso had rightfully come to appreciate. She pulled out her phone and started filming Canary pretending to suffocate in the embrace. "I have control over President Mike's social media," she giggled to Shinso. "If you think that this isn't going on there, then you'd be wrong." President Mike was now holding on to Midoriya's shoulders and gently shaking him back and forth while screaming about how good he was. It was good to see Midoriya acting so confident. This was the Midoriya that Shinso knew, not the one that he acted like around most others. Here he wasn't so shy or unsure of himself. He spoke aloud the sassy remarks that he often reverted to sign language to make, so Shinso would have to stifle his laughter. He had now shoved his hand over President Mike's mouth to stop him from talking and was telling him off for being so biased. "Speaking of bias," President Mike yelled. The volume felt so much more intense in the radio waiting room than it did in the classroom. Shinso felt sorry for Midoriya's ears. "You did great, little listener!" He was pointing at Shinso. "Me?" He frowned. He should have seen that coming. "Canary said you had an awesome ability, but never said what!" Shinso rubbed the back of his neck nervously, his fingers catching on the clasp of his necklace. Thanks. "If you both don't get onto the hero course, I'll eat my hair gel!" The smile that spread across Midoriya's face mimicked Shinso's demonic one so much that he almost laughed. He turned to Aozora. "Please say you got that on camera." "I see this as a win-win situation," she sniggered. President Mike's face fell. "Wait, no! What are you two planning?" 3. Shinso corrected. If his teacher was going to eat his hair gel, he was going to be there to watch. "Ow!" Aozora suddenly exclaimed, almost dropping her phone. "I've actually got something for you, Canary." "Huh? He frowned. Yeah, it's almost 6:30. You two should get into the studio. You can see it in a bit, she decided, now moving to pick up the paper she'd previously scattered across the room. Your friend can adopt your nest while he waits. Your nest? Shinso repeated. Everyone pointed at an armchair in the far corner of the room, completely covered in cushions. Aozora grinned. He literally goes there every single time he... Wait! Midoriya jumped. Where is your jacket? He blinked at her and smiled nervously. At home? Why? Because there's like a homing beacon saying, I am Canary. Aozora opened her mouth, wavered, and then said, that is a good point. Get back in there, you two. The song's about to end, ordered a guy that Shinso hadn't noticed before, wearing headphones and fiddling with an assortment of buttons and levers set out on a panel in front of a window into the main studio. The blinds are open, Midoriya realized with a frown. It must have been referring to the blinds tied up at the top of the window. Perhaps they were usually closed whilst he was in the studio. We can close them again if you want, the man offered as President Mike steered Midoriya towards the door to the studio. It's okay for now, he stammered. Bye-bye, Shinso. He waved as Siren whizzed past the door and it was slammed shut. Shinso went and immediately collapsed in Midoriya's nest, vaguely watching Midoriya and President Mike talking in the soundproof room. Hey, Purple! Aozora suddenly exclaimed. She was sitting in a wheelie chair beside the other guy. It's Shinso, he mumbled in reply. I need a nickname then, she insisted with that scary grin of hers. Shinso aspired for his grin to strike fear in the hearts of whomever saw it, like Aozora's did. He hesitated for a moment, briefly considering his very short list of future hero names. But then his phone vibrated in his hand. Todoroki had just sent them a message in the Canary group chat. He'd been sending them a string of updates of his father struggling with his phone, and Shinso had saved every single one of them. Raven, he replied. Aozora gave him a slightly bewildered look. Canary has a group chat with me and a few of the Hero Corps students. Shinso sighed. One of them, Uraraka, the girl with the gravity quirk, decided we should all have bird nicknames there. And mine's Raven. Okay, I love Uraraka. Shinso grinned, not just at Aozora, but at the picture of Endeavor moments away from setting his phone on fire. Anyway, hey, Raven! He raised his eyebrows at her. Want a pair of headphones to listen to the show? Shinso hesitated. The pair Aozora was waving at him were wireless. That meant he could still sit in the nest whilst wearing them. Sure. President Max Radio Show! Tuesdays and Thursdays from 18:30 to 19:30. Canary's Hour. President Mike. Yeah! Canary. Yay! President Mike. Now that's more like it! Canary laughs and Siren twitters in the background. President Mike. Welcome back to Canary's slow and steady progression to screaming yeah! With me! Canary. Spoiler alert! It's probably not going to happen. President Mike. In all seriousness, welcome back to Canary's Hour, where our favorite little co-host as Canary. Bias! President Mike. I'm not being biased! Canary. You have other co-hosts! President Mike. Our! The people listening here are listening for you! Canary. Then shouldn't it be favorite host? A brief moment of silence follows. President Mike. You can tell when Canary's about to insult me because he gets all nervous about it and starts stammering. Canary. Hey! At least I'm talking at all. President Mike. Anyway, as I was saying, where our Canary has just returned to the land of the living after rocking it in the sports festival. Canary. I warned you about the rock pun. President Mike. But it's a gun. Canary. Siren. Furiously can be heard. President Mike. No! Call her off! I won't do the rock pudding and I swear! A sigh of relief after a satisfied chirp and a flutter of feathers. President Mike. Did you train her to be an attack bird? Canary. No, she came like that. President Mike. I can't believe that. Canary. And also, what did you mean, return to the land of the living? President Mike. I was told you've been asleep. Canary. Not this entire time. President Mike. That I don't believe. Canary. I wasn't in a coma. President Mike. You seemed pretty tired during the awards ceremony. Canary. I wasn't. Stop looking at me like that. My friend's outside the radio studio and... Hey! Stop it! President Mike. They're signing to each other now. Speaking of which, you two forgot that there were other people in this world who know sign language again, didn't you? Canary. Maybe. President Mike. Because I've been shown several videos where your sign language conversations in the sports festival have been translated. Canary. Yeah. My friend told me about those. What do I call you on here? Your real name or what? Why? Oh, okay. Raven. We're calling him Raven. President Mike. Why is Raven your friend's code name? Canary. That would be because we kind of have a group chat with me and Raven and four others from school. And for some reason they decided that they should all have bird code names like I do. So we have Canary, Raven, Dove, Crane, Owl, and Puffin. President Mike. Okay, that's adorable. Canary. Apart from me and Raven, they're all on the hero course, and they're probably listening, so hi! President Mike. It's Canary Zaria! Canary. Isn't that my social media account name? President Mike. Yes! But are these 5 not your original aria? Canary. 4 of them are. Puffin only joined yesterday, but, yeah, those were the only 4 who knew that me and Canary on the radio show were the same person before the sports festival. President Mike. What about me? Canary. I wasn't including you. President Mike. How did they find out then? Canary. Oh, well, Raven was the first to know. I told him. Then Owl was next. There's a bit of a story behind how she found out. President Mike. Tell us then! Canary. Okay. Well, to get into the radio show building place here, I have this key card. And on this particular day, I brought it to school with me, and I might have lost it. A moment of silence. President Mike. You're looking at me like you expect me to be mad. Canary. You're not? President Mike. Why would I be? I lose mine all the time. Canary. Your co-producer's glaring at you. President Mike. Yes, and I fear for my life. You haven't finished the story. Canary. Oh, right. Basically me and Raven were searching for it after school, and then we found it, but someone else did before us. That didn't make any sense. Someone else found the key card, and we had to try and get it back off her without her realizing that it was me. And Raven tried to convince her to take it to a teacher, and the argument kind of drew a crowd. I somehow managed to grab it off her without her realizing, and me and Raven ran off. But Owl was the only one who saw us do it, and she followed us, and I think she was going to tell us off for stealing it, so we ended up explaining. Present Mike.
That sounds like quite an adventure!
Canary. I guess? Present Mike.
What about the others?
Canary. Oh, Dove tuned into the radio and heard my voice. Then we had to tell Crane before he heard too and accidentally gave it away. Present Mike.
On the topic of voice, there are some important things we might want to clear up before we move on to our usual Canary's hour schedule.
Canary. There are? A moment of silence follows. Canary. Oh! Yeah! Present Mike.
I just signed an explanation. If anyone's confused by that, I'll let you say. But remember, only if you want to.
Canary. Yeah, thanks. There's a lot of rumors and stuff online about stuff. And, yeah, I get why it's weird that only 4 people figured out who I was. But that's because no one really, apart from them, had actually heard my voice before the sports festival. But because I'm Present Mike.
Do you want me to finish that?
Silence. Likely where Canary nods at Present Mike. Present Mike.
Canary here suffers from selective mutism. This is why I offered to let him come on the radio station to help improve his confidence for him to effectively use his quirk, which requires his voice to work properly.
Canary. Thanks to this, I'm getting a lot better. Present Mike.
We've gone down a few decibels. Should I be whispering too? Siren tweets very loudly into the microphone. Present Mike. Never mind! That another thing we might want to address is why Canary isn't already on the hero course.
Canary. I never took the exam. I didn't know I had a quirk at all. Present Mike.
But despite that, in the sports festival, he absolutely
Canary. Don't you dare. Present Mike.
practiced.
Canary clicks his fingers and the flapping of Siren's wings can be heard as Present Mike yells. Present Mike.
Kill the music! Kill the music! Call her off!
Present Mike screams.
I repeat, call her off! No, don't call her off. I'm still filming.
Aozora's voice rang out across the studio as she spoke into the microphone on the other side of the glass, holding up her phone and
Giggling maniacally.
Well done. Shinzo signed from across the room. He never left the chair and instead just turned it around slightly so it was at a better angle to see the studio. For what? Midoriya replied, continuing to ignore Siren doing what she did best. He shrugged. For managing to explain that. I didn't do a very good job of it. You did pretty well for someone who was almost completely mute a few weeks ago. Midoriya smiled widely. Oh, okay, Siren, that's enough. Midoriya told her after realizing he'd left Present Mike at her mercy for a little too long.
He looked rather frazzled after
Siren finally backed down. Siren didn't actually hurt him. She just enjoyed giving the impression that she was trying to. Midoriya didn't doubt that she really would go for the eyes if she thought someone was a serious threat. The thought made him sudden uncomfortably. He looked back to the other side of the glass. Aozora was grinning wickedly as she showed Nakano the video she had taken. Shinzo waved his phone at Midoriya, urging him to pull his own out of his pocket. Canary Protection Squad. Raven. You guys listening to the radio? Dove.
Oh my god, it's Canary's hour!
Owl. Like always, Shinzo. Or should I say Raven? Dove.
We have been mentioned!
Raven. Did you only just tune in? Dove.
At the end of the bit where he mentioned us, yeah! Wait, are you there? At the radio station?
Raven. Yeah. Owl. Lucky. Puffin. My sister told father how to change his ringtone. Owl. It was fun whilst it lasted. Dove.
No!
Crane.
It would have been too unprofessional to keep it as such for too long.
Raven. Unprofessional was what we were aiming for.
Canary.
Apparently, setting my attack bird on people is unprofessional, but that's not going to stop me from doing it.
Dove. Canary! I thought you were on the radio!
Canary. I am. I'm waiting for the song to end.
Owl. Do you get to pick the music?
Canary. No, I think Cockatoo does.
Owl. Well, you have to show us your arsenal sometime. Dove. His arsenal?
Raven. The music playlist he has to use his quirk with.
Dove. Good name!
Owl.
Why do I feel like that was Shinso's idea?
Raven. That was actually Midoriya's.
Owl. You're slowly corrupting him.
Raven. Nah, he came like that. I'm just making it worse.
Midoriya looked up from his phone and gave Shinso a scowl through the glass. Hey, Canary!
Aozora suddenly exclaimed. She had obviously disappeared at one point without Midoriya realizing it, and had now returned with 2 boxes under her arms, grinning wildly as she beckoned him to leave the radio room for a moment. President Mike assured him that the song they had on would be a long one, and he then quickly scurried out of the room to see her. Siren nestled in his hair as he did so. Aozora slammed the boxes down on the table near Shinso, gingerly moving the smaller one off the larger one to undo the cardboard and then push it eagerly towards Midoriya.
What is this? He questioned, peering at the quantity of colored pieces of paper within the box. Fan mail!
The 2 boys stared at her.
What?
Midoriya cried.
But there's so much!
Aozora laughed.
Isn't it great? Obviously, they don't know your address, so they send it here instead. We need to open a P.O. box for you.
No, I don't need, I don't want fan mail.
She laughed even harder. Well, tough.
Shinso picked up a random letter and grinned at it. Midoriya genuinely. Wow.
The other box has stuff which I don't think is fan mail. It might be. I don't know. I obviously haven't opened any. You'll have to check yourself.
How much time do we have left?
Midoriya asked, turning to President Mike and Nakano across the room.
About 2 minutes, Nakano warned.
Midoriya turned back to the smaller box. The fan mail would have to wait. Perching on the side of the armchair Shinso was occupying, he put the box on his lap and opened it. Reaching for and ripping open the first letter he set his eyes on. His eyes widened as he skimmed through it, his heart beating at 1,000,000 miles per hour.
What is it?
Shinso questioned, trying to peer over Midoriya's shoulder to read it too. But Midoriya had already folded the letter up and shoved it back into the envelope it came from. He tossed it onto the table and began to do the same to several others. The others seemed rather confused by how frantic Midoriya seemed until he finally explained. They're from hero schools!
What?
Shinso frowned. Hero schools! Other than UA! Offering me a place if I can't transfer onto the hero course! He pulled out yet another letter. This one was peculiar. It was colored pitch black with white and gold diamond-shaped insignia sealing it closed.
He didn't even need to open it to know who it was from. Shinso saw it too. That's Shiketsu Academy.
The next biggest hero school from UA!
Midoriya finished. Not long left now, Nagano warned. Shinso gaped at Midoriya. What are you going to do?
Shinso gripped the black envelope tightly before shoving it back in the box along with the others. He hesitated, and then let a grin spread across his face.
You'll see.
President Mike. Yeah! Canary.
I missed my headphones. Ah!
President Mike. Yeah! Canary.
I missed my headphones.
President Mike. Ah! Wait, what?
Canary. My headphones. They were kind of ruined during the sports festival.
President Mike. And you bring this up now because?
Canary. Because I just put on these headphones.
President Mike. Oh! Okay, I get it now.
Canary. I had to make those from scratch so that I'd be allowed to take them into the event. I spent ages on them. Not that I was exactly expecting them to last very long. President Mike.
That is very sad.
Canary. That was sarcastic. President Mike.
No, it wasn't. But you can always buy new ones. You don't have to make them this time.
Canary. I suppose so. President Mike.
Hey, you know what we haven't done yet?
Canary. What? President Mike.
You need to tell us a random fact.
Canary. Did you know that a group of ravens is an unkindness? President Mike.
I thought that was crows.
Canary. No, that's murder. President Mike.
What?
Canary. A group of crows is called a murder. President Mike.
I ain't collective nouns.
Canary. I think they're great. President Mike.
Well, why don't we speak to one from your area then?
Canary. Oh, okay. President Mike.
Cue the ringtone.
Siren repeats the beeping of the ringtone in the background as it plays. Listener.
Ha!
President Mike.
Wow! You were quick!
The listener laughs. Canary. Hello? Listener.
Nice to hear ya.
Canary. Yeah. Siren tweets enthusiastically in the background. Listener.
Yeah, I hear you too, Satan.
Canary. Oh my god! You're... Listener.
The pet shop owner who sold you that little bastard. That's me.
Canary. President Mike.
Wait! You sold him Siren?
Listener.
That's me. The girl who can't whistle. I'm Tori, by the way. Tori Mikada.
Canary. Nice to officially meet you. Listener. Tori.
We already met. You just couldn't talk to strangers back then, I'm guessing.
Canary. Yeah, kind of. President Mike.
This bird is a nightmare.
Listener. Tori.
I know, right?
Siren tweets aggressively. Listener. Tori.
That noise haunts my dreams.
President Mike.
I know the feeling.
Canary. You guys are mean. Siren is amazing.
Siren sings a happy note.
Listener. Tori.
My life has been made so much easier now that I don't have a deal with chasing that bird around the place every other hour. Did you know that she can pick locks?
President Mike.
Thank you for that information.
Listener. Tori.
It's important to know these kinds of things when a sadistic bird is out to get you.
Canary. Don't listen to them, Siren. Listener. Tori.
Listeners should know though, Canary is a weird as hell bird. Canaries are not usually like that. So if you're thinking of getting one, remember that they probably won't be like her.
Canary. Yeah, Siren's very special. Listener. Tori.
Special is a loose term.
President Mike.
Anyway, Tori, do you have a question for Canary?
Listener. Tori.
I probably should have thought of this earlier.
There was a clutter and a crash from the listener's end, followed by a frightened yell. Listener. Hey! I'm Washi Tomodachi, and I have a question because Tori's being incompetent and now the guinea pigs have escaped. Canary. Shouldn't you help her? Listener. Washi. I've spent way too long chasing after Siren for her. It's her turn to go capture the escapees. President Mike.
I can appreciate that logic.
Listener. Washi. My question is, how come Siren listens to your ever commands? Canary. Oh, she doesn't do that. She tends to only do that when she wants to. She likes attacking people, though, so it's easy to get her to do that. Listener. Washi. Are you sure your quirk's only to do with singing? Don't have a secret animal communication ability hidden in there somewhere? Canary. No, I just guess. Listener. Tori.
Conspiracy confirmed. Canary can speak to canaries.
Listener. Washi. You are impossible. President Mike.
Well, my question is, do you have a song suggestion for us?
Listeners. Tori and Washi.
Yes!
Listener. Washi. No, you have a terrible music taste. Listener. Tori.
Well, I rung up, so I...
Listener. Washi. You missed a guinea pig. Listener. Tori.
Wait, no! No! Siren's background singing sounds suspiciously like laughter.
Listener, Washi. Hey, Canary, are you gonna sing something today? We'd all love to hear your beautiful voice again. Canary. Well, I don't know. I hadn't thought about... Present Mike.
Yes! That would be great! Will you, Canary?
Canary. Canary sighs. Canary. Sure.
Present Mike and Washi cheer.
Present Mike.
Go get ready then, Canary! Whilst our pet shop friends tell us a bit about owning pet birds!
Listener, Washi. Sure. What do you want to know? Present Mike.
And with Washi and Tori off to rescue their many escaping creatures, I believe that Canary is ready in his soundproof room.
Canary. Have I told you how scary I find this? Present Mike.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Canary. You say that every time. Present Mike.
That's because it's the truth.
Canary. Well, too late now, I guess. Oh, Siren's tapping on the window. Hello, Siren. I'll be out in a bit. Present Mike.
Ready when you are.
Like a small boat. Midoriya had the blinds pulled down this time, hiding himself from the radio crew in the little soundproof room. Shinzo could barely see his shadow through the dusty blinds as he sang along to a tune that he most certainly selected for a reason. He hoped that there were others out there who could understand them. Like how a single word can make a heart open. Shinzo had spent hours with Midoriya, going through songs and trying to find what powers might lurk within them. This was one of them. One of the ones that Shinzo now knew every word to. But only now did he really begin to realize how much these words meant to Midoriya. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. Shinzo looked down at the cardboard boxes full of letters, his eyes lingering on that black envelope. Can you hear my voice this time? With the music ringing in his ears, headphones placed awkwardly over his gelled hair, Shinzo reached down and removed that envelope from the box, running his fingers over the Shinketsu seal and the glossy black paper that the envelope was made from. He glanced back at all the other letters. There were so many, and although Shinzo didn't open any himself, he knew what they were offering Midoriya. Places at hero schools from across the country. They saw his potential, realized his growing fame, and decided to make a move in case UA decided not to, or took too long. My power's turned on. But would he take it? I'll be strong. Shinso's hands gripped the sides of the black envelope. Would Midoriya take this opportunity? Would he leave him behind? It wasn't that Shinso was jealous in any way. He just... With Midoriya, he'd finally understood what friendship could be like. And it wasn't just him anymore. There was Jiro, Araraka, Ida, heck, even Todoroki. And he couldn't... Wait. He remembered that sly grin of Midoriya's when some kind of idea drifted across his mind whilst he put this envelope away. Oh. 'Cause I've still got... How symbolic. A lot of fire left in me. Inko rarely able to call her husband on days other than Friday. It was early in the morning for him, but he didn't mind. Everybody's worried about me. Inko was playing the radio out loud through the house, holding the phone close to the speaker as she tried not to sob. Wow, he heard Hisashi breathe. He sings more beautifully than you do. Inko laughed, which quickly turned to tears. She wasn't very good at singing at all. Nevertheless, in that moment, all three Midoriyas were singing the same tune, despite how far apart they stood. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. Jiro had just finished making a social media account by the name of Owl.
Now she's prancing around downstairs, playing the music of the radio out loud as she jumped from sofa to sofa, singing along. I will scream them aloud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? Ito was sitting in the hospital's waiting room. His glasses kept misting up. At this point, he'd given up and had taken them off to constantly rub the glass clean with the little cloth he always carried around in his pocket. Prove I'm alright song. He'd known for a while, but the doctors would only be officially confirming it today. Tensei would never walk again. I'll be strong. Ida rubbed his eyes as Midoriya's singing continued to fill his ears. They were playing the radio out loud in the hospital. It did bring a smile to his face when the name Crane was mentioned, although it was still beyond Ida as to why Uraraka decided upon that particular bird. Names. Ingenium. Tensei had asked him to take that name. But could he? 'Cause I've still got a lot of fire left in me. She liked the radio. Listened to it over her phone from time to time. A lot of fire left in me. But oh, she liked Canary. It was so close to winning. Came out all beaten and bruised and bloody. She giggled as she skipped along. She liked that. Like a small boat. Cheater. On the ocean. He didn't like that quirk of his. Sending big waves. He didn't like the attention that was drawn to it. Into motion. And he could destroy anything he didn't like. He needed to get outside, clear his head. But for some reason, he'd found himself taking his phone and headphones along with him. He listened to playlists for a time, but the string of songs had somehow taken him in a full circle. Back to the ones Deku sung to him. And then back to the radio. I might only have one match. Bakugo caked at the pebble by his feet, sending it skidding across the road as he walked. But I can make an explosion. Bastard! This is my fight song, Midoriya sang. Take back my life song. Siren was hopping around on the other side of the window, occasionally peering through the little gaps in the blinds to look at him. She was singing, although Midoriya couldn't quite hear it through the soundproof glass. My power's turned on. He grinned. He felt so free alone in that little room. He could just forget how many thousands were listening to his every word and just enjoy their existence himself as the barriers that once separated his mind from his mouth continued to crumble and his control returned. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. And for once he really didn't. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fire left in me. But he would get onto UA's hero course, and Shinso would too. I've still got a lot of fire left in me. He would make sure of that. Songs used in this chapter. Fight Song by Rachel Platten.